Hello, Andy here with 530 Projects, and today I'm going to be taking apart one of these EcoPlug outdoor Wi-Fi switches. Basically, it's just a relay controlled by an ESP8266, rated for outdoor use. I'm going to open it up and put some custom firmware on it so I can control it with my over Mqtt over my home automation system. Let's go ahead and get this opened up. First thing to do is cut this label here so we can get into it. Alrighty, so what we have in here is just a relay that controls the line, comes into it, and then connects. Once that turns on, it connects the line to both of these outlets at the bottom here. The neutral's just spliced in, goes into here, and then jumpers over to this guy. So these are activated at the same time. They're not independent. You can just plug two things in of them at once. And here's the control board for it. We've just got power, ground, and signal to control the relay to it. This is our 5-volt circuitry here, so that's where we get 5 volts and ground coming into our ESP8266 board, and then our signal right here going back to turn on the relay. This is, I guess, EcoPlug's version of a 12E, ESP8266 12E. I've looked it up. I've found some blog posts online for pinouts, which will be helpful. It brings out pretty much all the pins, so we can get power and ground and receive, transmit, and GPIO 0. It's got a couple of onboard LEDs here. Power button, basically that goes into a GPIO into the ESP8266, and a reset switch which connects the reset pin of the 8266 to ground. So now what I'm going to do is connect I made up this plug here to connect ground power, receive, transmit to the ESP8266. Then I'll also bring out GPIO 0 so I can short it to ground when I plug it into my programmer. So it'll get power and ground from the programmer, and then we can program it with a custom Arduino code. So I'm going to get that set up now, and then we'll solder the wires on. So here I've got my first wire set up, ready to solder. It happens to be the power wire. We're going to get power, and power is pin number 2, and ground is pin number 1. So we'll go ahead and put those on real quick. course, by quick I mean kind of slow. And we'll check with a meter to make sure those aren't shorted together. And it looks like we're good on that. So next I'm going to solder the transmit and receive wires. And those are pins 14 and 13 respectively. And they happen to have these little test points on the PCB here and here, which are directly connected to those two pins. So I think I'm going to try and solder to those two. I'll just come over the top and solder those two. That way I can get farther away from this RF shield. So that way I don't accidentally short that, because I'm sure that's on a ground potential. So I think I'm going to try and solder these two little test points for my transmit and receive wires. So in my particular case, so the one that's next to the red wire is transmit. So my transmit needs to go to the receive, and receive is pin 13. Now I need one on GPIO 0 so I can put it into program mode, and that is pin number 10. So with that being done, we'll check, make sure nobody's shorted together where it shouldn't be, and then we should be done with the soldering portion. Alright, so now I'm over here at my computer. I'm going to go ahead and plug my programmer in to that header we just soldered on. Just this little guy I got off Tindy, I forget who it was. I'll see if I can post a link in the description to it if I can find him again. I really like it. It drives the ESP8266 just fine. We'll go ahead and plug him in, lining up the pins. Alright, so he's plugged in there now. And in order to put the ESP8266 into program mode, I've got to ground this wire while applying power to the ESP8266, which I'm just going to power through this programming chip. So in order to do that, I'm just going to hold, if you can fold back this little copper foil. So I can show you there. And there's this copper pad here that goes around the screws. And of course they only put 3 in to save money. But if I just touch that to that copper pad there and hold it there while I plug in my USB cord, now the ESP8266 should be in programming mode. Okay, so now that I've got the sonoff.ino opened up here, one thing that you want to be sure and do is come over here. You can click on this drop down arrow and go to userconfig.h. Scroll down here and you want to enter in your Wi-Fi SSID and your network password. So just type them in here. Inside the quotes you want that. Of course that's not my real Wi-Fi name and password. Then this one I think you can just leave blank. Then you come over here and scroll all the way to the bottom, and then go up just a little bit until you find this use IR, this pound define use IR remote. For some reason mine doesn't want to compile with that. So I just comment that out because we're not going to be using the IR remote on this EcoPlug. And then you can just go ahead and click upload. Alright, now it's flashing. There's our transmit and receive pins. Everything's flashing and talking. So that's good. That means we wired it all correctly. So we'll let that finish flashing here and then we'll put it back together. Alright, and that completed successfully. So we'll go ahead and disconnect it. We'll tuck all the wires in and screw it back together. Okay, I've got the EcoPlug put back together and plugged into the wall here. I used an app called Fing, that's F-I-N-G, to find its IP address. That's a free app and it shows you all the devices and their IP addresses on your network. And highly recommend it. For this EcoPlug, it happens to be 12. As you can see, it's configured as a sawn-off basic module. We want to change that, so we'll go into configuration and then configure module, and then hit that drop down and we'll scroll down until we see WiOn, W-I-O-N. Select that and then we'll hit save. It's going to reboot. As you can see over here, our little light is now turned on. Before it wasn't. So we'll go to the main menu. Now you can see it says WiOn module. And we can hit toggle. And you hear the relay click and the light changed. Now the red one's on instead of the blue one. Toggle again, click, changed again. Also the button works to switch it as well. So that works pretty good. Now we can go into configuration and we can configure Wi-Fi, we can configure Mqtt. Let's go into that real quick, and then you can set your IP address for your broker, your port, client ID, username and password. I just entered in some username in there. And then the topic to subscribe to. And then you're all set up, and then you enter that information into your home automation system, and then you can control it with your phone and over Mqtt. I'll go back to the front. And, thanks very much for watching. I hope somebody finds this helpful. I thought it's pretty slick how the Tasmota you just plug it in and just say it's a WiOn, and then it works great. If you have any questions, let me know down in the comments. Please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll do more videos like this. Thanks, bye.